Hello everyone, welcome back to FX021. In this tutorial, I'm gonna talk about how to create smoke, and we can use in the Unreal Engine. So let's get started. So for the smoke, we're gonna render this something like this. It's a texture. So each image is one frame. So we have 120 frames here, I believe. And we can, in Unreal, we're gonna play through these single frame, each frame by frame. And it will create our texture in Unreal. Okay, so let's get started. So let's dive in, let's turn off the display for this. Let's dive inside smoke. Okay, so first thing, I create a grid here, change the size to 6:2, and roll to 2 and 2. So it's a grid. And I just polybevel this a little bit, set the group to point, and bevel it a little bit, okay? And set division to 2. And then I scatter some point here. You can turn off the relax iteration here, but I turn it on. So we got a bunch of point here, and I assign some color to it. So you can see here, some point are black, these point are black here, and some are white. So it's easy. So create a anti-alias noise here, and use a vector to vector 4 here and connect here. Okay, so when you play this, the noises move in the X direction, okay, because we have the time node here, and I promote these frequency, offset, and amplitude to the sub level here. Okay, so for the offset here, I just use $f times 0.08 here. So you know, this value will if we delete channels here, you see it's just moving. Because we have the time attribute here, it will move, but it will not move at the x-axis. So if I use $f times 0.08, $f is the frame number I want, and the frame number, and I just slow it down a little bit. So when you play it, it moves on the x-axis. Okay. So now these are the CD attribute, which is the color, and I have some P scale here. The P scale is based on the CD attribute. So I just remap the value. So if you see the color here, you can go to the geometry spreadsheet. You can see it's from 0.2 to negative 0.3. So negative 0.4 to 0.3. So you see here, negative 0.34, so it's negative 0.4 here, and the positive value, the maximum is the 0.28, which is 0.3 here. So I just remap these value to 0 to 1 here. Okay, let's see here. Now you can see wait. So I just remap these to 0 and 1. So remap these value to 0 to 1, and these are the P scale values. Okay, and because we have different P scale values, I use attribute delete just to delete the color on them, and I use a point jitter, so it's more random. Make sure it's not jittering on the y-axis, so it's flat. Okay, and then I just create a line here. It's a line here, and copy it to this point. Okay, now when you play it, you see, okay, because we have different P scale, so the line length is different, okay. And I just transform it a little bit, and I assign a V attribute to it, because for now when you play it, it doesn't have velocity, okay. So I need to assign velocity to it, so it's -100, which is when we visualize this, it's pointing this way, okay. But it's too uniform, so I use a point velocity here, use keep incoming and add a curl noise on it, so it's more random here. So when you play it, it's something like this, okay. So turn off the visualize on it, and now it's the standard step for making Pyro simulation. So a Pyro source here, attribute transfer. So because when you make Pyro source, and transfer the velocity here. So we got velocity we make and attribute noise. So the noise is for the density and the temperature. So if we visualize the density here, you see it's different. You got some place has high density, some place has low density. And we just volume rasterize attribute the density and temperature and the velocity here, okay. So you can see, okay. And in the top network here, it's just some volume, it's the basic one. So the sparse solver, sparse smoke object, and volume source. And you can have density, temperature, and velocity here. And you can, in the Pyro source here, tweak the reference temperature and the shape here. And you can also add gas disturbance here and with rotational force. So I just duplicate this, and some values are changed in these ones, and so these have slightly different simulation. And use a dop import field here, so you can drag and drop your dop network here. So dop, it's the smoke sim one, and dop node is the one here. You just copy and paste it here, okay. So we just want the density, velocity, and the temperature here. So same for these ones. It's the same, just drag and drop the smoke sim2 to the dop network here, and this one here, okay. Everything is same. And before you cache your smoke, you need to compress it. So convert VDB, combine volumes, check everything here, so the file size will be smaller. And now you cache it. So I cache it from frame 24 to 144 because I want some pre-roll for my smoke. So from frame 1 to frame 24, the smoke will simulate, but it will not be in my cache because I want some pre-roll, so it will have some natural shape here. So total is 120 frames because it's from 24 to 144, but I have some pre-rolls. So if we look at the smoke here, so from 24 here, you can see this is the cache 1 to 144 here, and this is cache 2. They are slightly different, and this is cache 3. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you have these, just create a loop here. Make loop. So this node, you need to have the labs tool installed, and input type is volume, and now it's endless loop. Our smoke is endless loop. Okay. So now you need to render this out. So to render this out, you need to be in the front view, like set view, front view. Okay, and you just click your camera and render this out. Okay, you need to be in the front view, so in a real we can use it. Otherwise, in the perspective view, it's not exactly the front. Okay, so you need to get into your front view and control left click on your camera and then render it out. Okay, for 3 of them, but you can only use 1. It's okay. So after you have the image, let's dive into the comp. So this is my render here. As you can see, these are EXR sequence. So they are looping. So I got 3 of them. So smoke 3, smoke 1, smoke 2. Okay. So once you render this out, you can go to the comp view. Let's go to the image here and create an image network and dive inside. So make sure the frame is on the frame 1. Let's go to the first frame and change your viewport to composite view, not in the scene view. So because we are in the render here, in the comp here, so change it to composite view. So first thing first, we need to use a file node. So to import our file here. So the file is the one here. Okay, just import it. And then use a shift node here. Because you see, when I import the file, you cannot see the smoke we have. You need to go to 24 frames, then you will see it. But I want to see it from the frame 1, so I use a shift node. So the shift node, I use -23, so it shift the frames, 23 frames. So now you can see it from the frame 1 to 120. Okay. So and then you use a mosaic node here. It will generate the flipbook texture for you. Let's see. So it will, if you have this one is decide image per line, and this is the maximum image in so it's 11 times 11, and you get this number. So if you got 64 frames total, so you want 8 frames and 64 here. Okay, so because I have 121 frames, so images per line is 11 and maximum is 121 here. And once you got that, you just use a raw file output and make sure the file is TGA and render this out, so it will be a single image. And do that for all of this, for all the smoke. And let me see, it's the TGA file in the comp. So you will have a single file. I can't open this, but Unreal will recognize this. And yeah, that's how you make loop smoke in Houdini and use in Unreal. See you next time.